TED, but for now, make sure you've got a pamphlet, which you could have collected upstairs, and get comfy. We're gonna get started. I will hand it over to Jacqueline.
So, I'm Jacqueline. I'm one of the co-lead organizers for TEDx, and in essence, this event is meant to be a learning experience and something of a prelude to next year's event. In previous years, we've noticed that many people applying to be speakers don't always have a clear idea of what a TED Talk is. Even many of the speeches that we select for the event start off completely off the mark and require a lot of coaching. Of course, coaching is part of our job, but it's easier for everyone if you can all come to speaker applications knowing what we're looking for. That said, attending this event doesn't mean that you have to become a speaker next year. Even if you want to just improve your speaking skills, this is the perfect place to be. While we're here though, I'm just going to give a little plug for next year's event. In just a couple of days, Ms. Vega and I will be in New York attending a TED conference, and this will give TedxYouth a higher level license, which will allow us to expand our audience next year to 800 members, which in years past we've only had a maximum of 100 members in the audience, so we're really excited to be able to expand TEDx to more members of our SAS community. And now that you're super excited for next year's event, I'm going to hand this off to V and Regina to talk more about today's events.
So as you all will be familiar with, TED's famous slogan is, "Ideas worth spreading." Now this has been used a lot to uniquely distinguish TED Talks from just other speeches. But what does this truly mean? After all, to have an effective TED Talk, you need to have a quality idea. So why don't you guys discuss amongst yourselves what you guys think a quality idea and what an idea worth spreading means to you. So if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves.
Something original, something not very quality idea about that. Applicational.
Bring to like something that not a lot of
Anyone ready to share? Right?
something you can act on, like take action based on an idea.
Right, that is a big part of TED Talks. In fact, to take action is really what distinguishes a TED Talk from other speeches. I really agree with that. Yeah?
Something original that hasn't been heard before.
Yeah, that's true. I think definitely when you think of a TED Talk, it's a talk that makes you go, wait, what? Which is the theme. You guys don't know it's the theme for today's speaker event, so definitely if it catches your attention, if it's something that makes you go, wait, hold on a second, then that is an essential part of a TED Talk, yeah. Anybody else?
Claire? Are those innovative ideas that are impactful towards the life of others?
Yeah, actually, there were a lot of TED Talks that did show that. In fact, there was actually one TED Talk that was about a woman and her, how she had a stroke and she saw kind of all her brain functions kind of diminish in front of her, and so that's really, really impactful. Anyone else? Melina?
Avoid cliches.
Can you guys repeat the questions, please?
Thank you.
So the question essentially is, how would you define TED's slogan, an idea worth spreading? What makes a quality TED Talk? Can you repeat your answer, sorry?
I would say avoiding cliches, and that kind of ties into the original ideas thing. But
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I feel like a lot of the times we tend to get stuck on very basic ideas, and it's true that, you know, there may be like tons of ideas out there, but at the end of the day, they all kind of like say the same thing. So actually there's one TED Talk that I saw, and it was about this man who essentially redefined what he thought happiness was. So yes, although there are lots of cliches out there and it's kind of difficult to stay away from them because they're all around you, definitely with a TED Talk, you can take that cliche and put a spin on it and make someone go, wait, what? Anybody else? Don't be afraid, it's fine. Yes, Ms. Megan?
Well, TED stands for Technology, Education, and Design.
Yeah.
So maybe any of those three themes? Or is it ed or is it engineering? What's the E in TED?
Entertain.
Is it really education?
It's entertainment.
So something that has to do with design, it could be anything from art to architecture to designing solutions to problems to any sector. And then of course technology. We've had students who gave TED Talks on the algorithm that Facebook uses to have your feed give you the same information from the same sources all the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? So that, and of course education, anything about education for all.
So essentially when it comes to your talk and like the subject I guess you would be speaking about, there really are no limits. TED spans over a number of different ideas, but what makes a TED Talk is what, as many of you guys have said, something that catches your eye, something that makes you go, wait, what?
And something that is really unique to you and shows your character and personality.
Okay, so that being said, we're gonna move on and Yana's gonna explain more about the symptoms of a TED Talk.
So just so low. So essentially, the term "an idea worth spreading" can be a bit ambiguous and vague, and we want to clarify what that really means. So for you guys, we've come up with 3 symptoms that we think essentially define an idea that is worth spreading. The first is that no one else can tell us this idea but you. You bring a new perspective to this topic. You are the one that shines a new light on this subject, and you are the expert in this area. So basically, the best talks are the ones where people care and stand behind their idea in full force because they are the experts and they take authority. Those are the most engaging talks and the ones that usually get their audience really able to zone in and actually pay attention to what the speaker is saying. So give us a talk on something you know better than anyone or that you can give a new perspective to. The second symptom is whether the idea can challenge, justify, or rework another current idea. No one wants to hear global warming is bad on repeat for 8 talks straight. We already know that. They want to hear a totally new, reworked perspective on global warming that they've never dealt with before. People are excited by new or newly reworked ideas, so capitalize on this in your thought process. Finally, this idea should make the audience that you're presenting to go, wait, what? And we're gonna have Joy talk about what wait, what really means.
My final suggestion is that there are 5 truly essential questions that you should regularly ask yourself and others. My claim is that, and this is slightly outlandish as a claim, but this is a graduation speech, if you get in the habit of asking these questions, you have a very good chance of being both successful and happy, and you will be in a great position to answer "I did" to the bonus question at the end. The first is a question my kids are fond of asking, and it's one you may have heard other teenagers pose, or maybe you still pose it yourself. The question is the classic, wait, what? It could be asked as, wait, what? Or, wait, what? My kids typically pose this question when I get to the point in a conversation where I'm asking them to do a chore or two. From their perspective, they hear me saying blah, 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 and then tomorrow I'd like you to clean your room. And at that precise moment, the question comes, wait, what? Clean what? Wait, what is actually a very effective way of asking for clarification, which is crucial to understanding. It's a question you should ask before drawing conclusions or before making a decision. The Dean of Harvard College, Rakesh Khurana, gave a great master class this year where he emphasized the importance of inquiry over advocacy. It's important to understand an idea, in other words, before you advocate for or against it. The wait, which precedes the what, is also a good reminder that it pays to slow down to make sure you truly understand. The second question is I wonder, which can be followed by why or if. So I wonder why or I wonder if.
Okay, so you've seen it on all the posters and have heard us and the video clip say it about 100 times. So now it's time to really unpack this. What exactly is wait what? It's a phrase we all use daily as a reflex, and most of the time we're not even fully aware that we're using it. Hey, did you know that I'm actually taking 24 AP classes next year? Wait, what? The phrase, wait, what, is often used in response to hearing something crazy that we cannot believe in hopes of attaining further explanation and knowledge. So what is this like in a TED setting? At last year's TED event, Rupal's speech claimed that actually people need more technology, leaving her audience thinking, wait, what? What is this girl thinking? In a society where everyone is always on their phones, people need more technology? A Wait What TED Talk takes an idea and captures the attention of the audience, usually via its obscurity. For example, at IASA's debate in forensics this past year, Hannah's original oratory speech posed the question, does she really have to love her family? What was her thought process? She's asking, what made her ask this? What on earth led her to believe this? Both of these talks left their audience wanting to know more. It encouraged people to think about certain ideas from a new perspective that they never would have before. Often the wait, what piece can come in at the end with a call to action that will leave people thinking, wait, so what can I do to help? Or the whole talk could be answering people's wait what questions, meaning that the basis of your talk could be on a topic that needs clarification. It is a topic where right now people are thinking, wait, what? And it is your job to answer that. Take cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, a topic very prevalent in our media today. Most people hear those words and think, wait, what? What does that even mean? Why is that important? The purpose of your TED Talk would be to answer those questions. This phrase can be about grabbing the audience's attention by either answering their wait what questions or leaving them thinking, wait, what? Next up, we have Ahan speaking more on the basis of a good TED Talk.
Hello everyone. Now that you know what an idea worth spreading is, and have explored what wait, what means, it's important to understand how this will all come together and how you'll be evaluated when auditioning with your piece. So with that being said, we put together a rubric. In your TED Talk, we'll be looking at 4 categories: delivery, expertise, organization, and content. Delivery is one of the most crucial aspects of a TED Talk. The nonverbal part of your speech is a presentation of yourself as well as your message. Through the use of eye contact, vocal expression, body posture, gesture, and facial display, you enhance your message and invite your audience to give their serious attention to it and to you. Your credibility, sincerity, and knowledge of your speech become apparent through your nonverbal behaviors, so it's important to know what you're doing. That being said, in order to deliver a killer presentation, you don't need to be an incredible speaker, but you must show thoughtful preparation. A TED Talk is 8 to 15 minutes with no note cards. Nerve-wracking, I know, but if you're confident of tone and well-rehearsed in your body language, you'll come off as prepared and knowledgeable. Another thing to keep in mind during your delivery is knowing your audience and engaging accordingly. For example, if I were to preach to you about the ethical iniquities of animal testing, I wouldn't use a bright and ebullient tone. I'd use a range of different tactics, speeding up, slowing down, becoming more serious, etc., to engage you for the full duration of my talk. More importantly, I would speak in a way that you can relate to. Establishing a connection between your audience and yourself is the most effective way to make a TED Talk memorable. When speaking, I would be careful not to sound too condescending, or even worse, too boring. You don't want your audience to hate you. This goes hand in hand with demonstrating flexibility. TED gives you a platform to step out of your comfort zone and encourage more people to think. Utilize delivery to do this by varying it when appropriate. Different ways of saying things can convey different meanings. If you want your audience to pick up something specific, like a certain nuance or even adopt a new idea, change the way you say something. Use sarcasm or irony to bring it to life. Finally, consider reconsidering. If you are absolutely terrified of speaking, know that there will be no note cards on stage, as I've said before. You must be fully memorized sometime in advance of the actual TED event. We're okay with you auditioning with a script and note cards, but not on the real stage. It takes away from your performance. With delivery done, here's Anisha on expertise.
All right, so now that you know how to deliver your TED Talk, you need to make sure that people are actually listening. Which brings us back to the question of why should we listen to you? Is it what makes you a credible speaker? Is it your personal connection to the topic, your unique perspective, or perhaps your uncompared TED expertise? Showing expertise in a TED Talk is critical, and it shows in many forms. True experts should be able to present their ideas with sophistication, the appropriate tone, and vocabulary such that anyone can understand their topic. Expertise does not equal jargon. Your purpose is to communicate your ideas, not confuse your audience. Boil down your thoughts in a way that does justice to your topic, but at the same time is followable to a general audience. However, remember that your audience members are not idiots. Treat them with respect and do not condescend them with your language. Tone is especially important here, as Ahan mentioned before. TED Talks are not research presentations, but your research topics are probably areas of interest and expertise for you. You can reformat a TED Talk by altering the tone and vocabulary to a more conversational and passionate piece. If you're ever in doubt of whether a research topic can be a TED Talk, ask yourself if it has significance to other people, to a broader message. For example, last year, Claire did her TED Talk on her brother, and it was her AP research topic. Though she was talking about science, she made the vocabulary attainable for the audience, and it was emotionally accessible as well, creating an impactful and engaging talk. Lastly, expertise also comes in actually knowing your stuff. If you're ever auditioning to be a TED speaker, you may be required to also turn in a bibliography to justify your sources and credibility. It's never a good sign if you're making up data and statistics, and we want all our TED speakers to be exemplars of thoroughly thought out topics.
Just something to add on to there that I was just thinking is in AP Research, which Nye and I are both taking this year, the teachers try to abolish this misconception that you have to do your AP Research presentation, or in this case your TED Talk, on a highly academic topic. If you are a wizard at The Legends of Zelda and want to talk about online gaming communities, that's just as awesome in our eyes as a highly scientific talk. As long as it's unique and new and you are the expert in it, that's what we want to know. So don't think that you have to go super smart in order to appeal to us. We are here for a wide range of topics. Yeah.
So one of the most crucial aspects, and perhaps, sorry, I'm sick. One of the most crucial aspects and components to any good TED Talk is having logical organization that flows throughout your entire presentation. Any powerful talk has an intro that captures the audience, that immediately makes them open their minds to what you're saying. Whether that be an anecdote, a shock factor, or a quote, that's all up to you to decide. But keep in mind that your audience, giving your audience a great first-hand impression by hooking them at the start is a key TED must. Any TED Talk that doesn't have a really powerful intro is one that you easily click through when you're binging on TED Talks. So make sure that you're able to really capture your audience right from the start. Now skip to the end. The audience has sat through your talk and is perhaps starting to zone out a bit. This is the time you hit them with your conclusion. Something that will leave your audience thinking for hours after they've left the TED Theater. This is probably going to be the last thing you get to say to them, so make sure that you make it incredibly powerful and strong. Now in regards to structure, you can organize your TED Talk however you want. There is no one type of monotonal structure. While the typical middle school 5-paragraph essay is something we try to avoid because it can be dull to an audience, last year we had a terrific speaker, Matt Oy, who organized his speech with 3 claims surrounding his central argument. We also had another terrific speaker, Priyanka Iyer, who adopted a more free-flowing style of presentation that also worked brilliantly. This goes to show that there is no one single way to organize your whole TED Talk, and you can take many routes to go about it. As long as you keep the words "be engaging" in your mind while writing your TED Talk, you're good to go.
Okay, and finally, for the last thing on our little TED rubric, we have content. Now, content is the meat, so to speak. It's kind of a weird way to say it, but the meat of your TED Talk. You can be a presenter that could entertain the dead, but if the actual thing you're talking about isn't interesting, nobody's going to want to listen to you. Content is, by the way, the #1 thing we look for in the audition process. So the first thing you want to make sure of is that your talk has a point or something the audience can walk away with. In English class, we call that a theme. It's perfectly okay to mention your theme explicitly, but it's also important to remember that your audience is not stupid. Okay, they may not and should not know about your topic as much as you, but they still have powers of deductive reasoning. You should not have a whole paragraph of your speech dedicated to shoving your central idea down your audience's throats. Now, surrounding your theme, of course, is a subject. Your talk can be persuasive, asking us to change a habit or look differently at an accepted idea. It can be you informing us on a fascinating subject we're unfamiliar with and you're an expert on. It can track a narrative as long as there's a moral to the story. Essentially, you can talk about anything as long as we're going to learn something new and unexpected from it.
One of the TEDx rules that we must abide under the TEDx license is that there can be strictly no promotion and advertising. While yes, this is an opportunity for you to share and promote your ideas, this is not the place for you to share and promote your businesses, organizations, or clubs. This is one aspect of the TED Talks that we will not be willing to compromise on. And probably most importantly, no cliches. We've all heard the speech about how global warming is bad, social media is bad, how a trip to an underprivileged area gave you an epiphany of a lifetime. And while those stories and topics certainly have meaning in the context of today's world, it is often hard to come up with a new perspective that isn't cliche. But if you can, that's also fantastic. Again, someone mentioned it earlier, but Rupal's talk last year was about technology, but she had a different angle. She claimed that rather than us having too much technology and that technology is bad, we often overlook that there's so many areas of the world that don't have enough technology and how that's a huge problem for us. So it's a different take on a well-known topic. But the most frequent problem that writers run into when they are crafting a speech is that they don't realize that they are using cliches. So with that said, we came up with a list of cliches we often find in people's speeches. First, follow your dreams.
Save the environment.
Be different. Be yourself.
Sports stories. Injury stories.
Learn from your failures. Growth mindset. Like, growth into what?
Start a revolution. Challenge society.
The I've started from the bottom and now I'm here story.
Technology is bad.
And my personal favorite, the I can't do this alone. Change starts with you. See, we've all heard these before. So when we say no cliches, we are asking you for sophistication in your thinking. Lastly, before we move on, again, it all comes down to the good idea. We can help you with your topic. We can help you see and abolish those cliches, but we can't help you at the end of the day a lot with the idea. It has to come from you. It has to be something that you're passionate about. Yeah? Okay, Jack.
So we've been talking a lot about what makes a good TED Talk, but now let's show you an example of what a TED Talk is. I'm presenting Avinash Ashok, who was a curator for our team for 2 years now, and he has a lot of experience both coaching and speaking, and he's going to give you his talk about rap culture, which will give you a better idea of what a good TED Talk should be like.